The English Premier League returns this weekend after an international sojourn. England had some mixed fortunes. They thumped San Marino 8-0, which was a fantastic result for them, and then were held in Montenegro 1-1 after Rini opened the scoring. But the Premier League, it rolls on. The battle for fourth place is really heating up and getting quite exciting. The title race is not done yet. There's still a few games to go, so we'll get straight into it. So first up is Sunderland versus Man United, the scene where United thought they'd won the league and then it turned out they'd not won the league when Man City had clinched the title through Aguero at the end of last season. They are closing in on a very monumental title at the moment. Sir Alex Ferguson asked in a recent interview he thinks they can take on Chelsea's 04-05 season title of 95 points when Mourinho won Premier League for them a couple of years ago. Very doable, still 9 games left. Rooney is in fantastic form at the moment, and also Van Persie broke his scoring record recently with 2 goals for Holland during the international friendlies. They're playing, they're pretty happy at the moment. Got an FA Cup tie next Wednesday morning against Chelsea, a replay. They'll be very, very keen with no European action to worry about. The league is almost wrapped up. They can really focus on the FA Cup and win that old trophy, which I'm sure Ferguson would love to do. Going to Sunderland, I'm going to tip them to win 2-0. Our next game sees Wigan play Norwich. Both sides sort of sitting around the mid to lower table. Wigan hoping to stay up, Norwich doing just enough, but probably not enough this weekend. In the trip to Lancashire, I'm going to tip Wigan 1-0. Then West Ham host West Bromwich Albion later on that night. West Ham have just tied up a new deal to go into the Olympic Stadium in 2016 in Stratford, which is probably good for them. It'll boost stadium capacity up to about 60,000, presuming they can find an extra sort of 20-30,000 people every week. They've got a fantastic deal there, similar to Man City when they moved into East London, or now Etihad Stadium, following the Commonwealth Games. West Ham pay very, very low rent there. They'll be very pleased with that in a long-term perspective. For the meantime, they're looking to stay up in the Prem. Playing at home, always a tough trip. West Brom in very good stead at the moment, but I'm going to tip West Ham to win 2-1. And Swansea play Tottenham in their next game. This is a crucial game for Tottenham. They need to win these kind of games. Their grip on third place has slipped. They're now behind Chelsea. Arsenal are breathing very heavily down the back of their necks. A big one to win. A tough trip in Swansea, who have been still very so-so since the League Cup win back in March. Gareth Bale is a bit of an injury worry. He was out against the game against Scotland last weekend with a virus, but he came back to play the Croatia game. Scored an early penalty, even though his side were beaten 2-1. Some very adjusted goals from Croatia. That being said, a tough trip, but they should do enough just to edge past Swansea, and I'm going to stay with 1-0 at top. Then Arsenal play Reading that evening. Reading have a new manager. Nigel Adkins has come in the wake of Brian McDermott's sacking a fortnight ago, which is, well, will hopefully do enough for Reading's sake in their relegation fight. That being said, Arsenal are just 3 points shy of fourth place, sitting in 5th, looking a lot better at the moment. And hosting Reading, I'm going to tip them to win 2-0. Man City host Newcastle later on and are still in the title race. There are 9 games to play, 27 points up for grabs. The rivals United, who are 15 points ahead, have a very tough run-in. They've still got to play Man City, Arsenal and Chelsea all at home, but also have tough trips away to West Brom and away to West Ham, which you wouldn't guarantee 3 points, let alone maybe 1 point there. So City can still hope for their luck and maybe rest a few points back. Considering their run-in is not as bad, the toughest trips are probably the United away trip and a Spurs away trip late on in April, which could possibly be seeing Spurs scrapping that top form and make it all the more harder. That being said, they host Newcastle this weekend, who are still recently out of sorts and not travelling very well away from St James Park. At the Etihad Stadium, I'm going to say Man City 3-0. Our next match sees Southampton down on the coast hosting Chelsea. Chelsea are about to embark on an NBA-esque run of 6 matches in 15 days, which will be very tough, and that includes a Europa League trip to Rubin Kazan off in Siberia, which is probably the last place you want to play when you're really battling as they are to stay in third. They're a couple points up. This will be a major scrap. Lampard did score his 200th goal in Chelsea colours 2 weeks ago, which is fantastic for him. That being said, they're probably not going to have him next year for some bizarre reason, unless manager and Chelsea ownership change their mind. That being said, Chelsea will go down to the coast, and say they're straight past with a 2-1 win. Then later that morning, Everton host Stoke. Everton are travelling quite well at the moment, whereas Stoke cannot leave the Britannia and even hope for more than a draw. They've rarely won on the road. Jalovic scored recently, which is good for Everton. Hopefully he'll continue his form, and they'll probably win 2 goals to 0. And then later, this is at 11:30 on Sunday night, Aston Villa host Liverpool. Liverpool's loss before the international break at Southampton did stagger a good 3-winning run, which has pushed them all the way up the table. They're sitting not far off a Europa League spot, which would be a decent finish for that team considering their start where they were so low on the table. Suarez has been fantastic as always this season. He's incredibly consistent. He's the top scorer with 22 goals, but when he's not scoring, he's providing assists, he's passing, he's running, he's even tackling, he's playing quite well. Some still see him as a villain, of course, but on the club, they love him. Liverpool will probably go to Villa, who in very, very dire straits at the moment, and I'm going to say they'll win 1-0. Then our last match of the round sees Fulham hosting Queen's Park Rangers. Fulham had a fantastic win over Tottenham before the international break. They have been buoyed by Berbatov recently. He's in fantastic form. Scored about 11 goals this season, really guiding them to a good, secure season. Hopefully they can finish in the top half for their sake. QPR will probably struggle. I think ultimately at the end of the season, there's no reason they can't get off the bottom of the table where they've been rooted to all year, but an escape at the moment is looking very, very, very tough. That being said, I'm going to tip Fulham to win 2 goals to 1. And so that's just about us. We will give a quick mention that it has been just over a year on since Fabrice November had that horrible heart attack, and is now doing quite well. He's doing a few sort of awareness tours around the Premier League, and the Premier League administration did mark that 1-year anniversary by installing about 200 new defibrillators around grounds all over England, which is fantastic to see, and hopefully that kind of tragedy will never happen again. And so that's us for another week. Come in and have a look. There'll be a fantastic round of football, and we'll catch you next week.